You can't hate yourself into a life that you love. I used to be someone who was so self-critical. I would always have inner critics that would tell me, why are you doing that? Why are you doing it this way? Why are you so stupid? And you're so ugly. I had such a negative talk that even though I was accomplishing things on the outside, I would still feel not good enough on the inside. I remember in the pandemic, 3 years ago, when my husband and I achieved buying a condo, I just felt like I wasn't happy. And I had my dream job, which is to become an ER nurse. And again, we bought a condo. It seemed like we had the perfect life outside, but on the inside, it just didn't feel like I was good enough, or nothing that I was ever doing was good enough. Until one day I realized that I didn't like myself. I didn't really truly love myself, or I didn't really accept myself. Because if I did, I would be happy about the things that I was achieving. I would be happy about the way I saw myself, the way I looked at myself, and I would be more confident and more brave about the things that I truly wanted to do. But that wasn't the case. And this is because of the fact that I didn't actually accept myself in a genuine level. So because of that pandemic, I really learned how to slow down and kind of look inward and figure out how to accept myself in that moment and then make changes from there. So in today's video, this is what I would like to talk about, is how do you actually accept yourself in the present moment and still make changes so that you can actually build a life that you truly love. But first, why is this so important? Accepting yourself is your bedrock or your foundation for everything that you do in life. If you are someone who is going to achieve big things or who's gonna make some impact, because if you're here, I assume that you want to make impact, you want to make a difference in people's lives, and you can't do that if you don't even like yourself, if you can't even accept yourself, or if you don't even love yourself. Let's say your dream is becoming a content creator, and because you love the idea of wanting to create content or maybe travel freely in the world, that was my original dream, because of that's why I wanted to do this whole thing. And let's say you actually get there and you achieve that goal, but you didn't build a foundation of actually loving or accepting yourself. What's going to happen is that you will get to that achievement or goal, and you are going to maybe one, sabotage your progress or success because you haven't really built that foundation of accepting yourself. Or second, you might actually achieve that goal and not feel anything. You don't feel grateful for it. You might just feel like, okay, what's next? What should I do now? Because this thing that I thought I wanted, I actually didn't want it. So in short, you just feel like you're never good enough, or nothing that you do or none of your accomplishments is actually good enough. And you're always going to keep moving the goalpost until one day you'll be like, okay, I don't feel good about anything that I have achieved in this life. And the other thing that you might experience is the feeling of imposter syndrome. So you might achieve these goals that you actually are working towards, but then once you get there, you might actually think that you don't deserve them just because you didn't build a strong foundation of self-acceptance. But if you approach your dreams with this strong foundation of having self-acceptance, you're essentially going to embrace every process of it. If you have highs, you're going to be so grateful for that highs, and you are going to appreciate more. And if you have lows, you are going to be able to take yourself out of that situation and not take that situation or that result or lack of result so personally, because you know who you are as a person and you don't let anything or any external thing define who you are. And that essentially is at the core of it, why self-acceptance is so important. Now that you know why self-acceptance and self-love is so important, then we can actually talk about the changes that you can make. I personally think that there are 3 levels when it comes to accepting yourself that you need to do. So the first level is the thought work. The second level is the mindset changes. And then the third level is to make actual lifestyle changes. So let's begin with the thought work. This is essentially where you watch your thoughts and actually learn how to change them. I'm not talking about going from negative to positive thoughts. I'm talking about real deep work thought. When it comes to thought work, the first thing that you need to do is to become super aware of your thoughts. If I ask you right now, do you like yourself? If you hesitated, the answer is no. If someone asks me, hey, Jerine, do you like yourself? And I'd be like, of course I like myself. What's not to like? I'm smart, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, and that's where I want you to be. But for now, if you're not there, it's totally okay. You just have to accept that. You have to learn how to tell yourself, I don't like myself, and that's okay. And I'm doing something about it. And that's it. I'm not going to tell you to listen to affirmation or to talk more positively about you or yourself, just because I know if you don't believe it, it doesn't work. Affirmation only works if the thing that is being said, you actually believe it. And if you don't believe it, it's not going to work. So the alternative is doing thought work. And the way that you do this is to really observe your thoughts. So you are going to take on an observer role and watch your thoughts. When you're going throughout your day, just look at your thoughts as if they are someone else's, that it's not you. You have to detach yourself from the things that you are thinking, because you are not really your thoughts. Your thoughts are completely different. So that's what you have to do. You have to watch your thoughts very carefully. For example, you're scrolling on social media and the first thing that you see online is that, this girl is so pretty. And then that's your first thought. Hey, this girl is so pretty. And maybe if you're insecure, you might think to yourself, I wish I was pretty like them. I wish I could do what they're doing. And now you're taking these thoughts and just becoming aware of them, and try not to judge yourself when you have these thoughts. Try making these thoughts really tangible. Maybe write them on a piece of paper, write them on your phone, just look at them, or just actually become aware of them, because the goal is to become aware of the thoughts that making you hate yourself. If you're saying that I don't like myself, or this girl is so pretty, I wish I were more like them, that tells you basically that you don't like yourself because you are insecure or you have low self-esteem. And in order to love yourself, you need to be able to see yourself as someone who's attractive, who's confident, because in general in life, those are the people that we're attracted to, isn't it? We're attracted to people who are confident, who are beautiful, who are, you know what you're attracted to. But that's what I'm saying. If you don't think of yourself as that way, that's going to make you hate yourself even more or not like yourself even more. So the goal is to kind of just be aware of that and kind of not necessarily stop it just yet, but just be aware of it. The second step is to neutralize these thoughts. Now that you know what thoughts are making you miserable, or what's making you feel bad, what's making you feel insecure, what's making you feel not like yourself, it's time to neutralize them. Again, we're not doing negative to positive thought here. We're actually going from negative to neutral. So for example, let's say your thought is that I hate my body. I don't like the way that my body looks. The way to neutralize this thought is to actually think that, hey, I have an average body. I have a human body. So instead of having this negatively charged thought that's causing you negative emotion, you're actually just trying to come up with something else that will actually make you feel neutral. If you look at yourself and you think that, hey, I have a human body, that's not going to make you feel negative or positive. It's going to make you feel neutral. So that's really the goal, is to create different thoughts that will neutralize those thoughts. So if you say, I don't like the way I look, my face looks ugly, you don't have to say I'm beautiful. You can say I have a regular human face, and that's it. Just to give you a personal example, last week I was at work and I did some mistakes, right? And instead of telling myself and being self-critical where I made a mistake, or in the past, what I would have told myself is like, why are you so stupid? How could you have done that? You're, so bad at this, blah, 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 blah. But because I have been doing this thought work for almost 5 years now, I can actually go from negative, or it doesn't even come as negative anymore. What actually happened is that, I made a mistake, and instead of saying, you're so stupid, how could you have done that? I ended up thinking about was that it's okay. You are so new at this. You have only been doing this for 2 months. Give yourself some time and learn from this. Do better next time. So what's happening is that I recognize that I made a mistake because I'm human. I will make mistakes, but I don't have to be so judgmental and so self-critical about it. I can just acknowledge the mistake, acknowledge that I will do better next time, and then move on. It's such a so much kinder approach rather than actually punishing yourself, thinking that, oh, I'm so stupid. How could I have done that? And all of these thoughts. It's just, why would you do that to yourself? If there's nothing else you're going to listen to this video, I think neutralizing your thoughts is the best thing ever that I have learned when it comes to this whole personal development thing. Neutralizing your thoughts is such a game changer, and I hope that you actually try it, especially if affirmations or positivity, talking positive doesn't work for you. I think this is a really, really good alternative. So the third step when it comes to the whole thought work is to actually pick a very specific area of your life to actually work on this in the next week. So the first time that I came across this work, which is about 5 years ago, I was so insecure about myself, and I was dating my then boyfriend, now husband, and I would have have thoughts like, he's not answering his phone and therefore he must not love me, or he doesn't want to spend time with me, therefore he must not love me. And at the time, I obviously believed these thoughts. And again, I thought that my thoughts are true, that they're the truest thing in the world, but no, it's just what your brain wants to think. So when I did the thought work, then I learned how to neutralize these thoughts. And really, it went from saying, he's not answering his phone, maybe he's busy, he doesn't want to spend time with me, or he can't spend time with me this weekend because of his schoolwork. And those are more rational, and it's more neutralized thoughts than, therefore he must not love me. So that's really where I kind of learned the power of this whole thought work thing. And I really hope that the simple steps that I've just talked about really helped you as well. And I just want to remind you that this whole thing is a practice, and that's why I'm telling you to pick one specific thing or area in your life that you want to work on for the following week and actually learn how to integrate this into your day-to-day life. I've been doing this mindset work for almost 5 years now, and I feel like it's really one of the biggest things that has made me go from very, very insecure to someone who's secure and confident now when it comes to relationships and other stuff in my life. So the next level when it comes to this whole thing is actually doing some mindset changes. And this is where you will learn about different perspective or different ways to look at a situation or the world or the way you see yourself when it comes to self-acceptance. The first thing is you have to take ownership of the things that you have done in the past. What's done is done. There is nothing that you can do about it. You don't have to feel regret about it. You don't have to judge yourself for the things that have gotten you here. You don't have to be so self-critical and self-judgy about the things that you have done. And the fact is that you're here now. You can't do anything about the past. The only thing that you can do right now is to take ownership of your actions. You might have done those things because it was the only option, or you didn't know any better. That at the time, those were the only things that you thought was possible. And that's okay. If before you didn't accept yourself or you didn't love yourself, you have now and today and tomorrow to actually change that. If you don't like your job from yesterday or today, you have from now on till whatever time to actually start making changes from here. You have to take ownership or responsibility for the things that you have done up till now, and then actually moving forward, do something different about it. But from that simple awareness of knowing how you got here and actually learning that you want to go somewhere different or you want to go somewhere else, that's enough. That you can actually learn how to figure out how to go from here. So the second mindset tip is to really be honest where you want to go. Let's be honest. A lot of us don't want to say our dreams out loud because they might sound ridiculous. They might sound very unachievable, and we like to just dream about them. I was so scared to admit that I wanted to leave my nursing job because it was the only thing I knew how to do. I only knew how to be a nurse because that's where I went to university for, and I didn't know what else to do with my life. Like, how could you be something else if this is the thing that you went to school for? But when I finally became honest about where I wanted to go, that's where it started happening. That's where the shift started happening. That's where I decided that this is no longer for me, and I'm going to make changes, and I'm going to learn how to get out from the situation that I'm in. At the time, my biggest dream was to work remotely and travel the world for weeks at a time while working on my laptop. And it seemed so big then, but once I was honest about that, then things started happening and I was actually able to do it. And number 3, which is a very cheesy tip or mindset change, is to do what your heart wants. When you do things that your heart wants, you essentially signals to your brain or your subconscious that you trust yourself. And this ultimately leads to self-acceptance. It means that you accept yourself. And I say do what your heart wants instead of what your brain wants, because sometimes the things that our heart wants is actually riskier than what our brain wants. My brain wants to become a nurse forever. My heart wants for me to express myself creatively on the internet. But the more you follow your heart, the more that you actually tell yourself that, I trust myself, this is going to work. That essentially turns into confidence, into who you are as a person, into what you want. And also it turns into self-love and turns into self-acceptance. So you actually have to do different things that you weren't before. Self-acceptance at the core of it is really the way that you see yourself or perceive yourself. So if you want to see yourself differently, if you want to see yourself as someone who's more confident, more secure, and just, be a badass, you need to basically do things that are going to lead you to become those traits. Those are really the 3 mindset changes that you kind of need to embody or change into your day-to-day life. And now let's move on to the 7 practical lifestyle changes that can actually get you there as well. These are things that you can do in your day-to-day life. They're super easy, simple steps. The first thing is to make the first hour of the day yours. I heard this from a YouTuber that I was following at the time. She's a productivity person, and she said the first hour is always mine. And I think giving yourself the first hour of the day is kind of like the ultimate act of self-love. First thing in the morning, you wake up and the first thing that you want to do is things for yourself. It doesn't matter what you do, just make sure that it's yours, that you're doing things that are good for you, that are good for your soul or your heart. You can do yoga or workout or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what the routine is. What matters is the intention behind it, that you are doing this for yourself. If you work 9 to 5, try waking up 1 hour earlier so that you can give yourself this extra time. If you work as a nurse 7 to 7, I get it might be hard to wake up 1 hour earlier, but what I did is that on my days off, this is my routine, is to make my first hour mine, and I do all things that I want. The second tip is to work on a new skill for 30 days. Doing hard challenges in life actually just boosts self-confidence. I did a 30-day writing challenge at the beginning of 2021, and it completely changed my whole trajectory. I felt more confident about myself. I learned a new skill and something that no one's going to take away from me. So when you give yourself a challenge and you actually complete them, this turns into self-confidence, which essentially turns into self-acceptance and self-love. Third tip is to listen to high-quality podcasts. I love podcasts. I think they're kind of my version of getting into someone else's mind and someone else's world. You know, kind of like when you read a book, you get into a different world out there. And for me, that is with podcasts and listening to different successful entrepreneurs, creators, and just knowing what's out there or what's possible is so energizing and so loving, because if you think that you are capable of doing something that you never have imagined you could, that is signaling to your brain that you love yourself. What other way can you love yourself than to give yourself a successful life or a life that you truly deserve? So I think that listening to other people and their life from their mistakes and lesson is such a good way to actually learn to know what's possible out there for you. Number 4 is this simple act of going for a daily walk. Research shows that going for daily walks or walks in general boosts energy and creativity and all these other positive benefits to it. So just going for a simple nature walk for 30 minutes every single day is so easy and simple, especially if you don't have kids. And I assume that if you're watching this, you probably don't have kids yet. But if you do have kids, it's another way to get them to actually walk too. Put them on a stroller or play with them while you're walking. I don't know. There has to be a way. The 5th thing is to do a digital detox in the morning and in the evening. In 2020, I did a 4-month Instagram digital detox, and I think it was the best thing that I could have done for myself. But now I only do morning and evening. So in the morning, I don't look at Instagram for the first 4 hours, and I don't scroll on Instagram. I might post a story, but that's it. And in the evening, I try not to actually engage in anything in the last couple of hours, just because I don't want anyone else's opinions or thoughts coming into my head. I have basically tried to make these first 4 hours and last 2 hours very sacred, that I am my own person and I want to kind of protect thoughts and energy. Until you learn how to accept yourself, you are going to constantly compare yourself to other people. So I think that until you develop that strong self-acceptance, maybe try to limit your use of social media. Not that I want to tell you how to live your life, but I think that is something that could help. And the last practical tip I have for you when it comes to self-acceptance is to start a new hobby. I think that each and one of us have this creative need to actually put ourselves out there, to kind of express ourselves or have a creative outlet, and having a hobby helps with that. So what is it something that you have always thought of that you wanted to do, and actually make time for it now? I mean, it's the New Year's. You're still in this whole new beginning, new chapter thing. So actually take advantage of this time to get out there there and start something completely different, or a new hobby, or pick up the old hobby that you love before life got in the way. So in the end, do things for you, do hard things for you, do things that if you were someone you loved, what are the things that you would actually do for them? And then do that for yourself. It is simple, not easy as that. I hope that this video resonated with you and that you be kind to yourself and take it one day at a time. I'll see you in the next one.